Ready for a deep dive into something kind of wild?
Let's do it.
We're talking about the Sarco suicide machine.
Okay.
So it's a real thing,
Wow.
not just sci-fi. You can actually, well,
End your life.
yeah. And this all started with, believe it or not, a blog post. This blogger, Crazy Old Gringo, has, well, a unique style.
In what way?
Well, they use Wikipedia in a weird way, like it's part of their titles. Sarco, ethical concerns about Wikipedia, that kind of thing.
Catchy.
Yeah, it makes it look twice.
So this Sarco thing, what is it exactly?
Okay, so from what I gathered, it's like this 3D printed pod, right?
Right, you step inside.
And it's designed to, well...
It uses nitrogen, I think, to reduce oxygen?
Hypoxia.
Yeah, hypoxia. And it's supposed to be relatively quick, painless.
So the blog post mentioned this isn't just theoretical.
No.
People are actually using Sarco.
It's legal in Switzerland,
Switzerland, right. Assisted suicide.
They have different laws there. More liberal. It's all about self-determination, especially with end-of-life choices.
And this is where Sarco comes in.
It's been used there, yes.
The blog mentioned an American woman.
Yes, recently. It was in the news. A big story.
What God giveth, Sarco taketh away.
That's a bit dark, even for this topic.
Right. But it's true.
It's real. This isn't some dystopian novel. It's happening.
Which brings us to the ethics of it all.
Huge debate. On one hand, you have autonomy, the right to choose.
Especially if you're, suffering.
Terminal illness, chronic pain.
But then there's the other side.
The potential for misuse. What about people who are vulnerable?
Or pressured into it.
Exactly. Coercion is a major concern. And mental health, that's another layer. How do you regulate that?
It's like, where do you even begin?
It's a tough one. Do you prioritize individual choice above all else? Or do you risk limiting access for those who might benefit?
That's the tightrope, isn't it?
It is. And it's not just an academic debate either. This is making headlines.
Big time.
CNN, the New York Times, it's everywhere.
So we're talking about a much bigger conversation here.
Yeah.
About technology and, well, life and death.
Exactly.
It's almost like this Sarco thing. It's got everyone talking, but nobody really knows what to think.
It's true. It's bringing up these age-old questions, but in this really stark, unavoidable way.
And the technology itself, the blog post, it wasn't that detailed. Like, how does it actually work? They mentioned hypoxia, but...
Right. So hypoxia basically means, well, it means your body's being deprived of oxygen.
Okay, so how does that happen in the Sarco machine?
So from what we know, the capsule, it gets flooded with nitrogen, and that lowers the oxygen level really fast.
So you just, I don't know, pass out.
Essentially, you lose consciousness and then, well, death follows. Pretty quickly, too.
And they say it's painless.
That's what they claim. Though there's some debate about that. I mean, some medical experts, they say even a short period of hypoxia could be. Well, it might not be totally peaceful.
But compared to other,
Other methods. Oh, absolutely.
So then you get to the whole slippery slope argument, right?
Yeah.
Like, if this becomes normalized, if we just make death this.
Easy. Accessible.
Exactly. Like, does it make suicide seem less serious?
That's one concern. And then there's the potential for coercion, right? Someone's vulnerable, maybe facing financial pressure, feeling like a burden.
Oh, wow. I hadn't even thought about that.
It's heavy stuff, but then again, you could argue, look at something like in vitro fertilization.
Okay.
Back in the day, I mean, people thought that was radical, even unethical. But now...
It's a pretty commonplace.
So it makes you wonder, could something similar happen with a technology like Sarco? Public perception shifts, technology keeps advancing.
It's like that with everything, though, isn't it?
It is. Look at the internet, social media. We're constantly grappling with the consequences, the ethical dilemmas.
So where does that leave us with Sarco?
I think it forces us to ask, how do we approach these huge, complex issues in a way that's, productive, not just driven by fear or knee-jerk reactions?
Right, because it's easy to get caught up in the what-ifs.
It is, but we need open conversations, informed opinions from all sides, and honestly, we need to involve everyone in this. Ethicists, doctors, lawyers, and most importantly, the people who might actually be affected by these technologies.
It feels like this blog post, it's just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, absolutely. But it's a start. And sometimes that's all it takes to get people thinking, to spark a conversation.
And we've definitely sparked a conversation today.
We have, and hopefully it's one that makes people pause, reflect, and really consider what role we want technology to play in our lives and our deaths.
Makes you wonder, like, where do we go from here?
That's the big question, isn't it? This Sarco thing, it's not like the end of the story.
It feels like just the beginning.
Right. Technology is, well, it's advancing so fast, especially in these fields like, biotech AI.
In our ethics, our laws, it's like they can't keep up.
Exactly. So we have to, like, almost try to get ahead of it. Think about the potential consequences before they hit us in the face.
But how do you even do that with something as, well, huge as death and technology?
It's not easy. But look, this blog post we talked about, it got us thinking, right?
Yeah.
That's what we need. More conversations like this, more stories, even if they're, a little out there, a little quirky.
It's like that old saying, a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
Exactly. We need to make these topics engaging, relatable. Otherwise, people just tune out.
Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about machines, is it?
No, not at all. It's about people, our values, our choices.
Like that line from the blog. Would you want the option of a Sarco death? And who gets to decide?
Heavy stuff.
It makes you think.
It does. And that's really what we're hoping for with this deep dive.
To get people thinking, talking, and maybe, just maybe, shaping the future we want to see. So to everyone listening, thanks for joining us for another deep dive. Until next time.